Police have issued a nationwide alert as New Year celebrations approach. Syndicates are reportedly using young women to spike men's drinks at clubs, taverns and concerts, then robbing them of money, phones and vehicles. Women are also being targeted, with some found assaulted or killed after being spiked at establishments. Authorities are calling for vigilance and not to leave drinks unattended. Officials are also calling on the public to share their whereabouts and only go out with trusted friends. All right, we are now joined by the National Police spokesperson, Brigadier Athlenda Mathe, to talk to us more on this and many other festive season issues. Thank you so much for joining us, Brigadier. Maybe let's talk about the safety campaigns first for this festive season. Talk to us about the objectives that you have as a department for this very busy festive season.
Well, a very good evening and thank you for the opportunity. We have been hard at work. As you would have heard, we launched our Safer Festive operations as early as October. And to date, we have arrested more than 113,000 suspects for various crimes. We have seized and recovered more than 600 stolen and hijacked vehicles. And in terms of illegal and unlicensed firearms, we have seized about more than 1,600. In the past 7 days alone, we've arrested 16,600 suspects for various crimes ranging from murder, rape, and so on. And 1,600 of those suspects were actually arrested on drunken driving charges. And just this past 7 days, we've actually seized 135 unlicensed firearms. So we are intensifying our operations. And really, our goal is to ensure that everyone crosses over into the new year in a safe, peaceful, and secure environment.
And I can imagine that there are many measures that need to be put in place in order for the safety of residents to be ensured, especially during this busy period. Maybe just take us through some of those.
Well, absolutely. We've had a number of roadblocks, stop and searches. We've been very visible. We've had the Minister of Police, the Deputy Ministers, as well as the National Commissioner and senior management of the police crisscrossing the country, conducting oversight visits to evaluate whether these safer festive operations are yielding the necessary results. And so far, we are quite encouraged that at least, South Africans are working closely with us in ensuring that we prevent and combat all forms of criminality. When you look at a province like Gauteng that has been under a lot of pressure, there's been a number of mass shootings, but their response has been quite impressive. We had the Salisville mass shooting in which I think 25 people in total were shot. We've had a suspect being arrested in that particular case. The firearm used in that commission of the crime has been positively linked and is in police possession. It's one of the firearms that we seized when we arrested this person of interest. You look at the Burgersdal mass shooting, where I think it's 10 people died. We had 5 people being arrested, and the matter was enrolled in court and so on. So you can see that throughout the country, we are hard at work. We are trying our level best to serve and protect the people of this country. You look at a province like Mpumalanga, where in this past 7 days, 5 AK-47s are being seized by police. So nationwide operations, we've been hard at work. Western Cape, you look at Western Cape, where we've got a challenge of gang violence in that particular province. You look at from the 1st of October up until now, I think it was 100 gang leaders that have been arrested by police, and I think it was 106 runners of those gang leaders that were arrested. So in those gang-infested areas, more than 200 people belonging to gangs, well-known gangs, have been arrested by police, and I think those are encouraging figures.
They certainly are. They certainly are very encouraging figures. But SAPS has also issued out a warning about drink spiking in incidents. Maybe just elaborate on that situation. And is this a trend that's picking up now lately?
Look, I think this trend has been picked up for a number of years, but we have seen a spike during the busy festive period. We've had a number of cases being reported in Gauteng in Northwest, where both men and women are being targeted. But on the men's side, you would find that these syndicates are utilizing females to target men at shebeens, at taverns, at nightclubs. These syndicates would be in the vicinity where they would monitor their targets. And once they've identified that target, they would allow the woman to move in. These women would ultimately spike these men's drinks. They would be lured out of the club, maybe to a hotel or a nearby area where they would be robbed and so on. And I think the unfortunate part about it is that not all of them survive. We've had a number of cases where some were overdosed with what these women would actually give them, and we would then end up with a murder case. So I think it's quite important that we highlight those type of cases. I think in Gauteng there was a popular American singer who was in the country quite recently. We had a number of cases that were reported from that concert where men were lured to a nightclub, and upon arrival, same modus operandi, they were spiked in the morning. When they woke up, they did not even know where they were, and they found that their belongings, their vehicles, and so on were taken and so on. So we thought it would be quite important to send out this alert and just inform members of the public on the crime patterns that we are noticing. But on women's side as well, we're quite concerned. A lot of young women also being targeted, being found brutally assaulted, being found raped, being found murdered from nightclubs, from taverns, or these recreational places and so on. So we thought, let us issue this alert so people become extra vigilant. We are urging people to be extra vigilant of their surroundings, and we would like to give out the following tips: that when you do go out, do tell a person that you trust where you are going. If you can, if possible, do share your location, your itinerary for the night or the day, because crime does not only happen, they're not only kidnapped, or these criminals don't only operate in the evenings, they also operate during daylight. So it's quite important to ensure that when you do go out drinking, do so responsibly. Always take water. Ensure that you don't drink and drive. As I've highlighted, out of the 16,000 suspects that we arrested just this past week, 1,600 of them were actually drunken drivers. So it's quite important that we issue this alert for South Africans to be extra vigilant of their surroundings and not to fall prey to these syndicates.
Yeah. And do we know which prevalent regions this is happening in? And are you aware of the substances that are used when spiking these drinks?
Well, I think it can happen anyway. I don't want to say we've had cases here in this province and not cases there. It can happen anywhere in the country. These syndicates move around. They can move to a certain province, but we've had a number of cases being reported in Gauteng. We've had a number of cases being reported in the Northwest recently of late. So it can happen anywhere, and that's why we thought, let us issue a nationwide alert to inform the public on the modus operandi that is being utilized. And we see a lot of men also being embarrassed to come forward with such cases because of they being the victims in these particular incidents. So we are saying, we are here as the police. Do not feel ashamed when such incidents happen. We do know of these syndicates, and we are out there to arrest them. I think in the Northwest, in the last week, we arrested 2 of the suspects that are male. We are still searching for the female suspects that have been working in this with this particular syndicate. But in the past, we have arrested a lot of females. You will recall there was a Sandton incident where a high-profile person was also involved in a similar incident where he was at a popular nightclub, and 2 or 3 women lured him to his apartment. He was found deceased, where it was found that he was spiked in his drink.
Yeah. We also saw the arrest of the notorious phone snatcher. This is in the Johannesburg region. Just how are you as the police in terms of your awareness campaigns and educating the community about personal safety, especially during this busy period?
Look, I think on that particular case, we need to really thank the social media community for their assistance, for sharing that particular video very wide. We should also thank JMPD, TRU units, as the Tactical Response Unit. They arrested that perpetrator this morning in Hillbrow. I can confirm that he is in police holding cells and he is facing a charge of being in possession of suspected stolen property. And that particular case is being moved to Brooklyn Police Station for further investigation. So I think kudos needs to be given to the social media community. And it does show you that if we work together as a country, we can achieve more to hunt down these criminals. Criminals are in minority and law-abiding citizens are in majority. And if we stand together, we will be able really to prevent and combat criminality.
And speaking about social media and just how much it helps in finding some of the incidences that are happening, and I'm not sure, Brigadier, if this is a bit premature, but the Eastern Cape province has also released a statement, and this is with regards to the supply of alcohol to minors in Ngamagwe. And this apparently has a case that has been opened. An investigation has successfully traced the location of where that incident took place in terms of that household, and it's found that it involved 5 children, 12-year-old, 2 11-year-olds, and 2 8-year-olds. Do you know if there will be an arrest quite soon?
Well, as soon as this video was brought to our attention, the National Commissioner called and directed resources to be mobilized to find the guardians and parents of these children that are seen drinking in a video. We have identified the children. I think the oldest was 12 years old. We had 2 11-year-olds, and the youngest, I think, was 8 that was seen drinking alcohol. There have been statements that have been taken from their parents. They do face, whoever was in charge of the kids on that particular day, they do face charges of contravention of the Liquor Act. But we are working closely with the NPA on this particular case. They are guiding us on a way forward, but no arrests have been made thus far.
All right, Brigadier, thank you so much for your time.